Biden and Trump had their first debate on June 27th. And by now, I'm sure you all know how it went because the entire Democratic Party is in disarray.
1,000 trillionaires in America. I mean, billionaires in America. 24%, 25%, $500 million. Billion dollars, I should.
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either. Look,
Joe Biden is old. Really, really old.
And what's happening?
And we're not even sure if Biden is going to be running for president anymore. That's how bad it went. I'm Bridget Phetasy, and this is your Dumpster Fire for the weeks of June 21st to July 5th. Welcome to Dumpster Fire, where we make burgers out of your sacred cows. If you want to see my hot take about it that I recorded the day after the debate, you can go to Phetasy.com and subscribe, which you should be doing anyways, because you want to be one of the cool kids who knew about us before everybody else. And you should watch another round where I talk about the debate and how wild it was. I'm generally not allowed to watch these. It's not that I'm not allowed. I'm not wearing a burqa around my house. My husband, who suffers no fools online or off or in politics or not, he hates these things. He's like, they're all liars. He won't watch them. Spectator wanted me to live tweet it. And truly, I wanted to watch it because who can't turn away from a flaming dumpster fire? So I was banished to another room upstairs where I watched it alone, eating kettle corn, stress eating kettle corn. Like, I was riveted. It wasn't even like the debate that was so riveting. It was the aftermath of the debate, which we're going to talk about because right now, what you're seeing in the media and what you saw that night and why I could not turn away from this debate was the entire left-wing, we all know it's left-wing, driven mainstream media complex turning their tanker away from Joe Biden, basically. It was wild. Van Jones was practically crying.
And it's personally painful for a lot of people. It's not just panic, it's pain.
They try and act like, oh, this is so heartbreaking. This poor man, we didn't know. I'm like, you guys are the worst fucking journalists in the history of journalists. Everybody knew this. This was my breaking Bridget just last week. Them trying to say that this is cheap fakes and that all of us who are observing clearly an old man in decline and with probably some kind of dementia, we're just the ones who are right-wing bigots and we're falling for all this right-wing propaganda. Fuck you! It was infuriating last week, and somehow I thought maybe if they acknowledged it, it would be less infuriating, and somehow it's more infuriating because now they're trying to all act like they're these brave, bold truth tellers, A, or B, that they didn't know, which means you're incompetent and you should be nowhere near journalism. How do I, an idiot, an old lady on YouTube,
you're old,
know this, and you, a person with unprecedented access to the president, his aides, you live in DC, you all get drinks together, your kids all go to daycares and shit together. How do I know this and you don't? They were so exposed immediately in the aftermath of this debate. And the debate was bad, guys. It was instantly bad, and then it just got worse. He whiffed on very easy questions about abortion and January 6th that should have been easily knocked out of the park by anybody competent. We're currently in the what happened and what's going to happen. Somehow we're in between these two places right now. And so it's the let's see what sticks phase of the media. Like, oh, it was a cold, but then he was at a rally the next day and he miraculously his cold was gone. Oh, it's his stutter, which is what we've always heard. They were trying to say it was jet lag. He got back 12 days ago. Maybe it does take 12 days to recover from jet lag if you're an 81-year-old in severe cognitive decline. I'm like, even if you have a cold and jet lag, you need to be able to run the country. You need to be able to respond. What if we're attacked? Then this past week, right after in the aftermath of the debate, everybody started leaking because now everyone's in crisis mode. Aides are already looking for jobs. The rats are all abandoning the ship because it's Washington and it's gross. All of the media has been exposed. And I was tweeting about this today. I'm like, these people are not truth tellers. They just got exposed and now they're trying to cover their ass. That's all this is. They're not suddenly like, oh my gosh, he's in decline. We had no idea.
I'm shocked to find that gambling is going on in here.
You're winning, sir.
Oh, thank you very much.
The president? You're kidding me. That's the other thing. It's not because they didn't know. It was about his campaign looking incompetent. So now they're worried, oh, we can't trust the people who were hiding him in the basement to hide him in the basement anymore.
Here, you see? It's going to be all right.
Or to cover for us anymore. We can no longer trust them to keep the secret that this man is already dead. They can't maintain the facade anymore. It was so sad. And then it came out that things started declining after 4 p.m. And it's like, yeah, it's called sundowning. Maybe you guys should Google it. That's a thing that happens, particularly with people in cognitive decline or with dementia.
America's choice in home care.
There were all these hilarious memes. The most hilarious one was McGillis or so. I forget his name. We'll credit him. Biden's brain, that artisan cupcake shop in your gentrified neighborhood. And it was like open 10 to 4. I used to have to recover after a 3-day drug bender and go teach yoga. Like, you got to be able to man up. This whole thing makes me question whether he's even Hunter Biden's dad. Was Hunter Biden adopted? Because that guy knows how to recover. Maybe this is why they've recently called Hunter into all the meetings, which also seems like a horrible thing to do for optics. Oh, our entire administration is in crisis. Everyone is really questioning whether or not we should even be in charge of the country. Let's bring our crackhead son in to advise us.
Convicted felon.
Although it is kind of smart because the only one who can finagle you out of this kind of mess is probably a crackhead.
Sign the treaty, baby. I suck your like what the...
How bad was Biden in the debate? He's so bad that a man whose mushroom penis affair with a porn star, which has been splashed all over the entire world and has been found guilty or is in court for charges of racketeering, interfering with elections. The list is truly very long and quite disturbing. He lost to that guy. That's how badly Biden did. Trump is facing charges of conspiracy against the rights of citizens, conspiracy to defraud the U.S., obstructing an official proceeding, racketeering, a willful retention of national defense information. And I'm not including the kind of fake hush money one, because that's not like the one he's been convicted for. But these are the other ones. And Biden still lost the debate.
Joe Biden is old.
And by the way, in a normal society, it would be a fucking scandal that the entire administration has defrauded the American people about Biden being fit for office. In the aftermath of the debate, everybody was like, but Trump. I'm like, okay, can we talk about the person who's in charge right now? This is the other thing that drives me crazy. Like, Biden might not be there, but at least he's not a liar. He is a liar. You're lying about being fit for being able to handle the position that you're standing in, and everyone around you is lying about this. Can we just admit we're in a post-character world and character doesn't matter anymore? We've probably been here for a long time. Neither one of these people are fit for office. Most people know this, and most people know they're voting for policies that they agree with. And whose world do I want to live with? Who's going to make me richer? This election will come down to independence. That's it. Because the people who are willing to vote for a brain dead corpse are obviously going to vote for Kamala if she's the person. I said this to my liberal family the other day. They're like, oh, Kamala. I'm like, you're going to vote for Kamala if she's the girl. And they're like, yeah, I will. I'm like, yeah, because you were willing to vote for a brain dead corpse. And the people who are going to vote for Trump, no matter what, they're going to vote for him. It's the people who are independents. Are they going to vote for Kamala? Probably not. Probably not. They're worrying about like a very small fraction of the electorate who is going to determine this election.
Undecided voters are the biggest idiots on the planet. Try giving short, simple answers.
What do you plan to do about crime in our city?
A lot.
I'm so grateful for the internet at times like this because the internet is truly glorious. There was the clip that went viral, my favorite clip of all time, where this guy was like, the most wild moment of the debate for me was when Biden was kind of stumbling around and calling, like, he's like, you had sex with a porn star. You had an affair while you were with Melania and she was pregnant. And Trump is like,
having sex with a porn star on the night while your wife was pregnant. I mean, what are you talking about?
He's like, yeah, damn. She was pregnant. James Carville came out and said that the Democratic Party is losing male voters because their messaging is too feminine.
Don't eat hamburgers, don't watch football, don't drink beer. Guess where our young male number is going? In the toilet. All right? Because Democratic messaging, I'm sorry, is too feminine. It just is.
Oh, you don't say. You mean all the gay army ads and the dude who stole all that luggage and like everything the Democratic Party is putting out isn't turning men away from their entire freaking juggernaut? I don't want a man who votes Democrat. No woman does. No, I'm sure there's many people in loving relationships with Democrats. I'm totally kidding. Yeah, so James Carville went after the Democratic Party for their messaging accurately, whether they want to hear it or not. And he specifically was talking about minority men because Latino men, black men, they're all very much like pro-Trump. I have a whole theory that America is a very alpha country, and it's partially how Trump won the first time, aside from just everybody being told that they were racist for like years and men being told that they were all, you know, misogynists or whatever. And then it was so crazy. People kind of freaked out. It was the pandemic and people freaked out. And then they were like, we need a calming grandfather-like force, maybe someone who's a little bit more stable. And then they got that. And now my theory is they're like, okay, that we're in wars now. Israel got attacked. The Ukraine's at war with Russia. People are not doing as well financially. So my theory is that it's just like a vibe, and that America is going to swing back to the alpha vibe.
Well, just the way he was sitting in that interview was hilarious.
He's like, it's so funny because I know so many women who are pregnant right now, and they're pregnant with boys after having girls, and they're like, I am so much bigger. I'm like, that's just man spreading in the womb. They do it from day one. They're just occupying your whole body. It is always so jarring to hear his voice. I feel like he should be wearing one of those top hats and like be speaking from the porch of his plantation.
Well, my dear, don't believe everything you hear about old Colonel Angus. Colonel Angus might be rough. Colonel Angus might not smell like a bed of roses, but deep down, Colonel Angus is very sweet.
Who knows more about the black community than a man who looks and sounds like a slave owner? I do feel like he was minutes away from calling the Democrats a bunch of sissy boys. I feel like he's like, these Democrats, they've become a bunch of sissy boys, and I don't know if they understand they're turning the males away. Just impersonating his voice makes me feel racist. The only thing that keeps Dumpster Fire going, truly, aside from our sponsors, thank you to them and thank you guys for supporting them, is you subscribing to Phetasy.com. So come join us in the community. By the way, we're raising our rates. It's time. Inflation. I have kept them low for everybody for a long, long time, probably longer than I should have, but I like to keep things reasonable. We're going to raise them because I want to make more stuff And we're making even more stuff behind the paywall. And I would like to take things up another notch. It's actually insane how much content we're putting out. So it's time. I'm telling you this because if you subscribe now, you will be grandfathered in at our very low rate of $50 a year. So get in there, subscribe, get grandfathered in with the rest of all the cool kids who have been following us forever, and support your favorite Not a News show because things are heating up and we want to go. I want to like go do things and interview people, and I've got to be able to pay people who know what they're doing with cameras. We want to be able to shoot sketches. So we need your support. That's what I'm saying. And I would like you to get in before we raise the rates. If you can't do that, I understand. Just like, subscribe, comment on YouTube.
Important stories we're ignoring.
We're ignoring all of the Supreme Court rulings because we're too stupid to interpret them, and we're not shameless enough to pretend that we know what we're talking about at all. I will start interpreting Supreme Court rulings if you want. I will do it if you subscribe. Specifically for that, I will start making videos behind the paywall of me interpreting Supreme Court rulings as a normie, as someone who logged into Twitter and Googled Chevron ruling. I will then go and give you my interpretation of it. I will also interpret it based on what I'm seeing from both sides of the argument when the ruling is put out. I mean, it could be fun, but you guys are going to have to pony up for that shit because it's going to require me to do some reading and some consulting with lawyers about stuff I don't understand. The only thing I know is that Trump will be probably in court until he dies. Today's episode is brought to you by our ride or die Sheath.com. I love this sponsor. Truly the only underwear I wear all the time. Their booty shorts make my bum look amazing. Ladies, get in there. Their patented dual pouch system for men is revolutionary. It cradles your balls in their own pouch. That's right. There is a separate pouch for your balls and also your genitalia. It keeps everything separate from the legs, nothing sticking together. If you fly a lot but hate your nuts stuck to your legs, this won't happen anymore. My husband won't wear anything else. The women's line is amazing. I live in their sports bras, as I mentioned, the booty shorts. It's moisture wicking, so your pH stays nice and balanced. They're always releasing new patterns and new styles. It's summer. You probably need some new undies. Treat yourself. Go to the greatest gift that's ever graced the balls of man, Sheath.com. Use the promo code DUMPSTER to get 20% off your next order. That's Sheath.com. Use the code DUMPSTER to get 20% off. Link in the description below.
Capitalism always wins.
Everyone was mad we didn't cover this last week. We didn't cover it because I was doing my best to ignore whatever the heck it was. And I'm grateful that we've been given time to really get to know this story and the reactions to it. Tuah is a girl whose name I still refuse to remember. I will only know her as Tuah. I'm sorry. You made that bed. You're going to lay in it. She went viral. It was just a man on the street interview. She was clearly wasted, and someone asked her how to keep a man and what she should do.
What's one move in bed that makes a man go crazy every time?
You gotta give him that hawk too and spit on that thing. You get me?
She went viral like I haven't seen in a while. It was on Instagram. It was everywhere. There were t-shirts. Like, she's basically an overnight star. She got on stage at a country music concert. I forget whose concert it was. She got on stage. The crowd went insane. She's been signed to an agency. She's filing trademarks.
She's been going on podcasts.
Hanging
out with Shaq.
It is wild. There are a lot of crusty haters who are like, oh, this girl, she just does one funny thing. I'm like, dude, Tuah is an American hero. Do you not know how Trump was elected? It is the Tuah contingency. The same people who love Trump are the same people who love her. She's from some Belfast, Alabama or something. It is truly the American story. Only in America can you say something that dirty and be catapulted to this level of fame and become rich and famous because of it. We should be applauding her. I know people are like, it's not classy. I'm like, she was a young girl out having fun. I easily could have been a Tuah celebrity at any point in the late 90s and early 2000s when I was drinking and running around.
Yeah.
And someone put a freaking microphone in my face at any point. I used to say shit like that all the time just because I thought it was funny.
Look at the Kardashians. Look how they started.
Yeah, she's going to have an underwear line and some makeup in 5 minutes. Get her on Kill Tony. She wants to go into comedy now. All the comedians were like, we're so mad. I'm like, this girl's a legend. We should be embracing this kind of overnight fame in America. It is so healthy for our country. I say get it, girl. You go get that money. You go get that fame. I say go after it. Freaking Angelina Jolie like kissed her brother and now she's at the UN. This is America. You can talk about hawking some spit on a penis, be catapulted to fame, and have a talk show for conservatives in 5 years. You can grab a woman by the pussy and the evangelicals will get behind you. You can be in cognitive decline and the entire intelligentsia elite Ivy League will back you and tell us that you're fine. You can be anyone you want in this country. And that is not bad. That is good. Now let's check the weather with Susana Almeida.
Tiempo de la mejor manera desde el hermoso Puerto Vallarta del estado de Jalisco con toda la información y es que tenemos un clima bastante rico en gran parte del estado de Jalisco. Vemos.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, touch my bells and buttons.
Siri, please take my life.
There's a video going around about a prison concept of the future called Cognify.
Cognify could someday create and implant artificial memories directly into the prisoner's brain.
It's very much like Demolition Man.
Somebody put me back in the fridge.
The idea is essentially that you can either take your prison sentence or AI and all of the other technology that they're coming up with can go in and alter your memories and do personality alteration. You were never a serial killer. You were a botanist. You come out and you're like, oh, why do I have so many teardrop tattoos? Why can't the rest of us get this for our mild depression? I would pay to forget the last Star Wars trilogy.
Here at Lacuna, we have perfected a safe, effective technique for the focused erasure of troubling memories.
I don't know if people realize that this seems like it's not a great deterrent to murder. If I could murder the person who leaves dog poop in my neighborhood and then just forget I ever did it
and not have to go to prison.
And not have to go to prison, I feel like a lot more murdering would be going on.
There would be so much murder.
You're like, oh, you mean I can murder someone, get away with it, and then forget about it? And they're going to rehabilitate my brain so that my quality of life is actually better than it was before? How is this a murder deterrent?
I don't think they've thought this through.
I don't think they have. Are you worried you have an STD? We've all been there, right? Oh, no, maybe you haven't because you're not a slut like me. But I've been there. No one likes to think about STDs. But if you're sexually active, you should be getting routine STD and STI screenings to make sure you and your partner or partners, we know poly is a big thing now, we're not here to judge, are safe and healthy. Now you can skip the doctor and buy your own STD and STI test online with Quest. No doctor's visit required. Your results are delivered online, quickly and discreetly. STD testing with Quest keeps the results off of your insurance. You have the option to discuss them at no extra cost with an independent physician who may be able to prescribe treatment. For all the boomers in the retirement communities, get out there and get an STI screening. This stuff is rampant down there in these communities. So you might think just because you're old, this doesn't affect you. It does. So if you're like a boomer in a retirement community having the time of your life, God bless you. but also you probably need to get an STI screening, and it's super easy. Link in the description below. I'm obsessed with my Bone Charge. I've been using their red light face mask, and it's amazing. People keep asking me what I do to my skin, and trust me, it's pretty much nothing other than put the Bone Charge face mask on. Getting older is tough. I get older on camera. I've been noticing wrinkles, fine lines, sunspots. I was in the sun a lot when I was younger. It is very important for you to understand how lazy I am about skincare. And I am loving my Bone Charge red light face mask because I just use it for 10 minutes every night. They advertise you can use it while watching TV, cooking a meal, putting the kids to bed. But for me, it's my me time. I just put it on and relax and allow it to boost the collagen and elastin production. It's got near infrared and red light, and you can switch between them or use both at the same time, which is what I do. And my skin really just looks younger and glowing in a way that it didn't before. Go to bonecharge.com/Bridget and use the code Bridget to save 15% off. That's BONCHARGE.com/Bridget and use the code Bridget to save 15% off. Link is in the description below.
Dumpster diving.
What's next in the dumpster? A French Excalibur sword has gone missing after 1,300 years of being lodged in a rock. And I think we know it's probably another teenager who's gathering all of these ancient swords somewhere. We've covered many of these instances. An 8-year-old girl discovered a 1,500-year-old Viking sword. A 7-year-old girl in Cornwall, England, pulled out a 4-foot sword from the same lake that King Arthur's Excalibur was supposedly tossed. Off the coast of Israel, divers discovered a 900-year-old sword dating back to the Crusades. And it does feel like a team is being assembled out there. And I love that it's like little girls. They're going to fight the forces who are coming against women. Team Turf assembled. Dun, 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 dun. There is a team of superheroes being assembled. They're usually teenagers. I'm sure that's what happened here. And if not, it's probably a climate protester who's going to use it to shred some Picasso at the Louvre.
Breaking Bridget.
So Gavin Newsom was at the debate. That's slimy. You all know how we feel about Gavin Newsom on this show. If you're old school watchers, if you're a new school watcher, we're not fans of the man who destroyed California. Kamala has also a California politician who's failed up. And I will lose my ever-loving mind if they swap in slick, slimy Newsom at the last minute and make him our freaking Democratic candidate, not the global hour. And Bill Maher, you also piece of work whose show I would definitely go on if he asked me. He came out in support of this idea that Newsom should take the top of the ticket. I'm like, your state is in flames. I was talking to a friend in the DMs the other day, and she was talking about how all her friends are talking about how their homeowner's insurance is getting canceled because all the houses are burning down because there's no accountability for any of the electricity companies who are basically operate like oligarchs. There's no water because they can't figure out how to save water, even though they've had some rainy winters.
And Kamala's no longer there to keep like low-level offenders in prison to be free firefighting labor.
Kamala can no longer get her $2 firefighters from prison. Nothing makes me more crazy than the exportation of California's bad policies and ideas to the rest of the country, like the independent contractor one, which we've covered, which, good news, some of those Supreme Court rulings are going to make it easier to sue for those stupid independent contractor rules. Side note, we all know that it doesn't matter who they put in, because if you're a Democrat and you're terrified of Trump, which granted, I understand, you're going to vote for whomever they put in the race. You're going to vote for anyone who's a Democrat, in spite of the fact that they're pro-sterilizing and mutilating children, they can do all kinds of things like ban independent contractors and make your life miserable because bitches love abortions. It's really what it comes down to. That's what they're going to run on. They put out this crazy video that was like, the Republicans are coming for your contraception. And a guy had to like give his name and address or whatever and talk about fill out a survey for a condom.
And it was going to be like, was it heterosexual sex?
It was roundly mocked by everybody.
You need an ID to buy condoms now?
It's a new legislation passed by Republicans in Congress after they voted against the Right to Contraception Act.
Get out of here.
I don't make the rules. Will these be used with a spouse?
No.
Are you in a committed monogamous relationship?
We haven't really had the talk yet.
Is this heterosexual copulation?
Yes.
And yes, have they rolled back Roe v. Wade? They did. They kicked it to the states. We can have a discussion about whether that's the way it should have been or not all day long. That's not the point of this. The point of this is a lot of people are single issue voters on this matter in general. This was something I learned post 2022 when by the way, I'm wrong about everything. So please don't listen to me because I was wrong about, I thought Trump for sure was going to win 2020. And I thought for sure there would be a red wave. I was on Rogan when he said the red wave was going to be like The Shining. And then there wasn't because Roe v. Wade was overturned. And then all the bitches who love abortions came out and they were like, I need to be able to have an abortion. The funny, weird thing too about this is that the constituency of women, when you look at the numbers who are, this is their one issue, they can't even have children anymore. This is your single issue and you can't even have an abortion because you can't even have children anymore. I mean, I get it. It's a women's health issue. I still think the Democrats are going to win. I still think Biden's probably going to win, believe it or not, although that could all change. But it's not going to matter. Again, the only people that it matters for are independents. Anyone who's already voting Democrat automatically for this issue, they're not going to have their mind changed by anyone that you swap in. No one who's going to vote for a corpse who can't speak is going to not vote for Gavin Newsom. They're going to rally behind whoever they put in there. And you're going to be racist if you don't like Kamala, or you're going to be sexist if you don't like Kamala. These think pieces are already coming out, by the way. Or Gavin Newsom's just going to be, look at what he did for California, even while 250,000 people a year flee with U-Hauls. And the ongoing meme is that he's like the employee of the month at freaking U-Haul. And I don't think that states who are resentful at all of the Californians invading their states and driving up housing prices and just being the general assholes that Californians can be, I probably should include myself in that. Although I'm not a rich Californian. I was like a working class Californian. There's two different kinds of Californians. So I don't think they're going to be stoked about the concept of a Newsom presidency. But I swear I moved my whole family, my child away from their grandparents to get away from Gavin Newsom. And I understand there's probably a real possibility that he runs in 2028. But I will be radicalized. I will put on a MAGA hat. I will be out there knocking on doors, talking about how horrible this man will be for America if he is the nominee.
If you can appreciate my point of view, that it's very unhelpful, and it's exactly the question and answer that the Republican Party right now wants us to have.
We cannot let this stand. Independents, I cannot imagine independents can't see through this guy. He's so slimy. That will break me. They're going to do it. They're going to fucking do it. I know if it does end up that Biden can't somehow be the nominee, they're already throwing Kamala under the bus. I already see it. I'm like, do you see that, Kamala? That's the bus that's coming for you. Because now suddenly the press is like, well, Kamala lied to us. Here's a video of Kamala out there. She's talking about how he was fine. Kamala has some questions to answer too. This whole scandal is going to go down. And it's going to end up with both of them out. And they're going to swap in slick Newsy. I mean, it will be fun. Because Trump versus Newsom, it would be kind of funny. But I think it will radicalize me officially. I'll be like, I'm voting for Trump! Phetasy News. As I mentioned, sign up for Phetasy.com to get the unedited version of this shit show. A lot of people love seeing how the sausage is made. A lot of people love seeing what jokes censor Maggie cuts out because I'm too out of control. If you sign up for our free newsletter, you can join us in the Touch Grass Challenge. You get a PDF. We're all partaking in it. We're going to plays and we're posting pictures. It's super fun and it's very wholesome. We need that. Thank you to everybody who makes Dumpster Fire possible. Thank you so much to our sponsors, Sheath, Bone Charge, and Quest. We also think it's really important to read news from multiple perspectives. So if you want to see through media bias and see multiple lenses, go to Ground News. There's a link in the description below. Thank you guys all for coming out and supporting us in the past few months. We very rarely are like, hey, we need help. And you guys have really rallied and continue to rally. And now to cleanse your palate, the internet is glorious.
Having kids is the best thing you could do, and every day you wake up with purpose, knowing that you're gonna stop it. Kids are miracles. It's what are you holding? I can't get enough time with my kid. Mommy's talking.
So long, gay boys.
Remember, life is absurd. Don't take it or yourself so damn seriously. We're just on a rockin' space. This has been your Dumpster Fire for the weeks of June 21st to July 5th. I'm Bridget Phetasy. Now make me rich so I can make you laugh, guys. That's the whole point.
And the unicorns dance while the world burns, world burns.